Hey everyone, welcome back to Movie Matrix. Today we've got something exciting, thrilling, mind-blowing lined up for you. So sit back, relax, and let's dive right in. Today we're reviewing Red Sparrow. The film follows Dominika Egorova, a talented Russian ballerina whose life takes a dark turn when she is recruited into Sparrow School, a secret Russian intelligence program that trains agents to use seduction as a weapon. Dominika, a dedicated dancer, supports her ailing mother while excelling in ballet. One evening, during a performance attended by influential guests, including her uncle Ivan, deputy director of Russia's Foreign Intelligence Service, she is introduced to a gangster, Dmitry Ustinov, who makes an inappropriate advance on her. Tragedy strikes when her dance partner botches a landing, severely breaking her leg. Following this, we are introduced to Nate Nash, a dedicated CIA agent operating in Moscow. His primary mission is to handle covert intelligence operations and safeguard key American assets within Russia. One evening, he arranges a clandestine meeting with one of his most valuable sources, a high-ranking Russian informant codenamed Marble. They agree to meet in Gorky Park under the cover of darkness, but just as Nate arrives at the designated spot, he notices something is off. Before he can establish contact, he sees a group of uniformed police officers approaching rapidly. Realizing that the situation is compromised, Nate's instincts take over. To prevent Marble's identity from being exposed, he acts decisively, pulling out his firearm and firing multiple shots into the ground. The loud gunfire startles the officers and nearby civilians, causing a momentary distraction. Taking advantage of the chaos, Marble immediately disappears into the shadows, successfully evading capture. However, Nate is not as fortunate. The authorities quickly close in on him, forcing him to surrender. He is detained and brought in for questioning, but he refuses to provide any information. Understanding the sensitive nature of the situation, American diplomats intervene, ensuring that Nate is promptly escorted to the U.S. Embassy under diplomatic protection. Upon arrival at the embassy, he is confronted by his superiors, who are both frustrated and concerned about his actions. Although they acknowledge that Marble's safety was preserved, they view Nate's decision as reckless and a potential international incident. As a result, they inform him that he will be deported back to the United States as a consequence of his mistake, effectively removing him from the operation. The next day, back in Russia's intelligence headquarters, Ivan Igorov meets with the director of the SVR, General Vladimir Korchnoi. The two senior officials analyze surveillance footage of the Gorky Park encounter, carefully reviewing Nate's actions. However, their primary focus is not on Nate himself, but rather on identifying the unknown individual he was meeting. The footage provides no clear answers, leaving them determined to uncover the identity of the elusive informant who continues to pose a major threat to Russian intelligence. As Dominika recovers, she learns that her accident was orchestrated to replace her with another dancer. Enraged, she confronts the guilty pair and exacts her revenge before reporting the incident as an accident. With her career destroyed, Dominika turns to her uncle for help. He offers assistance, but at a price. Tasked with seducing Ustinov, she reluctantly agrees, knowing her mother's medical expenses depend on it. However, the mission takes a deadly turn when an SVR operative assassinates Ustinov in her presence. Now, a witness to murder, Dominika faces an ultimatum. Join the intelligence service or be eliminated. Sparrow School. Dominika is enrolled in a brutal training facility where recruits are conditioned to use psychological manipulation, seduction, and survival tactics. The headmistress, matron, delivers a chilling speech. Their bodies now belong to the state. Throughout her training, Dominika endures harrowing tests of loyalty and obedience. When a fellow recruit, Victor, tries to assault her, she fights back, impressing Russian intelligence officials. As a result, she is assigned to a high-stakes mission in Budapest. Infiltrate the life of Nate Nash, a CIA agent protecting a Russian mole known as Marble, a deadly game of espionage. In Budapest, Dominika initiates contact with Nate, but he quickly identifies her as a Russian agent. Instead of turning her away, he sees an opportunity. He believes she can be recruited as a double agent. Nate reports Dominika's potential value to his superiors, who grant him permission to get closer to her for intelligence gathering. Meanwhile, Dominika visits the embassy and discovers Marta meeting with an American politician, Stephanie Boucher. Later, Nate approaches Dominika and admits to taking her ID from the pool. Realizing he knows about her mission, she reveals her true intentions. They have a brief conversation and agree to meet for dinner the next day. That night, Dominika searches Marta's room and discovers that she is responsible for purchasing confidential information from Stephanie. The following evening, Dominika tails Station Chief Maxim to a bar and persuades him to send a favorable report about her to Moscow. To ensure his compliance, she provokes him into hitting her, capturing the act on security cameras. With blackmail as leverage, she forces him to submit the report. Meanwhile, Nate waits for Dominika at the restaurant, but when she doesn't show up, he assumes she has ditched him and leaves. Unbeknownst to him, she follows him home and rings his doorbell. Once inside, she turns up the TV volume to prevent eavesdropping and questions him about what happened in Gorky Park. After getting his answer, she kisses him, but he stops her and tells her to go home. The next day, Dominika receives a surprise visit from Ivan, who inquires about her progress with Nate. To buy time, she lies, claiming that she and Marta are also working on the Stephanie case and need additional funding. As Ivan prepares to leave, Dominika discreetly glances at his passport to gather intel. That evening, she returns home to find Marta's lifeless body in the bathtub. Before she can process the scene, Konstantin, the SVR agent from earlier, grabs her from behind, warning that this is the fate of those who betray secrets. Meanwhile, Nate informs his superiors that Marvel has confirmed Dominika is a Sparrow. While they see her as a threat, Nate believes she can still be turned. The next evening, he brings her to his apartment and admits he knows her true identity. Dominika, in turn, opens up about her past, making it clear that her only concern is her mother's safety. Nate offers her a deal. If she becomes a double agent, he will ensure her protection. After contemplating, she asks if she can trust him. When he reassures her, they share an intimate moment. The next morning, Dominika meets with Nate's superiors and undergoes a lie detector test to prove her reliability. After passing, she asks for funds, claiming she can buy intelligence from Stephanie Boucher. On Friday, she travels to London with Maxim to execute the exchange. The CIA has prepared a hotel room for her, complete with surveillance cameras and fake discs hidden under a desk for her to swap. When Stephanie arrives, Dominika convinces her that she is Marta's contact, leading Stephanie to hand over the real discs in exchange for the money. Feigning authentication, Dominika discreetly switches the discs. However, before she can leave, Stephanie realizes she is under surveillance. Panicked, she discards the money and attempts to flee but is fatally struck by a truck. Watching from a distance, Russian agents suspect their operation has been compromised and blame Dominika and Maxim for tipping off the Americans. Both are immediately recalled to Moscow. Upon arrival, Ivan seizes the discs and arrests them. Despite their protests, they are subjected to brutal torture, and Maxim is executed. Yet, Dominika remains steadfast, denying any involvement with the Americans. Eventually, Ivan believes her and allows her to return to Budapest to continue her mission, identifying the mole, Marble. Reuniting with Nate, Dominika spends a romantic evening at his apartment. In the middle of the night, she awakens to find Konstantin torturing Nate for Marble's identity. Initially pretending to comply, Dominika even assists in inflicting harm on Nate. But when Konstantin lets his guard down, she attacks him, allowing Nate to break free. Together, they overpower Konstantin, though both suffer serious injuries in the process. Dominika wakes up in a hospital, where she receives a shocking visit from General Vladimir. He reveals himself as Marble, explaining that he turned against Russia after his sick wife was denied treatment by an American doctor. With his discovery imminent, he urges Dominika to expose him to Ivan, securing her place as a national hero and a future asset for Russia. At first, Dominika is reluctant, but after much persuasion, she decides to act. She contacts the Russian ambassador, claiming to know the mole's identity, but demanding her freedom in return. An exchange is scheduled at the airport, with Nate present to confirm the mole's identity. Feeling betrayed, Nate is furious with Dominika's apparent decision to sell out Marble. However, she has a surprise for him. When the Russians arrive with the accused mole, it is revealed to be Ivan. Dominika had been planting evidence against him since her arrival in Budapest, framing him for the botched London exchange. Shocked, Nate confirms Ivan as the mole. Moments later, a Russian sniper executes Ivan, solidifying Dominika's deception as the truth. After the exchange, Dominika is taken away by helicopter. In the final scene, she is honored in a Russian military ceremony, with General Vladimir watching from the audience. Now free and living with her mother, Dominika has finally achieved the life she always longed for. And that's a wrap. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss a video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.